Have you heard of the golden mean? It was a term coined by the great Greek philosopher Aristotle over 2,000 years ago. It is the middle state between two extremes, although not necessarily the exact middle. Different degrees are needed for different situations, and knowing exactly what is appropriate in a given situation is difficult and requires self-improvement and experience. It applies to so many things: breathing with the balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide, to confidence, to when we should rely more on logic and when more on gut feelings and intuition. In music, keeping an orchestra in harmony or mixing the levels of a piece of music by the sound engineer. So changing course, let me ask you a question. What would you pay for a pill that prevented or severely reduced heart disease, dementia, osteoporosis, depression, diabetes, obesity? The answer is you don't need a pill. The answer to all of those is more exercise and movement in your life. If exercise were a drug, it would cost a fortune. But like any drug, you have to get the dose right. Too little, no effect. Too much can be very damaging. The right amount starts with a requirement of walking 15 minutes a day or around 150 minutes a week. But obviously it doesn't have to be walking, it could be cycling, swimming. Even cleaning a house involves a lot of movement, but too much exercise causes problems. Every minute, your heart sends 5 litres of blood around the body. If you look at your fist, that's roughly the size of your heart. A good heart has about 3 or 4 billion beats in its lifetime, which is roughly 1 billion beats every 30 years. If you can reduce your heart rate by making your heart work more efficiently, this has numerous benefits for the body, and we'll get into that in one of the blogs on breathing. So let's say your resting heart rate is around 45 beats per minute. If you were doing a hard workout and your heart rate was around 172 beats per minute, that means the heart is pumping 35 litres of blood per minute, or 10 gallons per minute. The heart is a pump. In between beats, it fills. How much volume it can accumulate is a very important factor. When the body is working hard, the heart is sucking blood out of the lungs and the venous system, but it also throws out a lot of free radicals, which causes a lot of oxidative stress. We have a lot of circulating buffers to neutralize those free radicals, but we deplete those after 45 or 50 minutes of high intensity exercise. When they're depleted, you start doing damage to blood vessels and start overtaxing the heart muscle. Now, when you're in your 20s, you're very resilient. You can get away with this. After age 45, this starts taking a big toll on the body. A guy named Kenneth Cooper came up with a formula for running of 2 to 3 miles a day, 3 to 5 days a week at a relaxed aerobic pace. We'll cover the difference between aerobic and anaerobic in another post. That is enough running for exercise. And he said, if you run more than 15 miles a week, you're running for reasons other than fitness. We started with a famous Greek and we'll end with a different one. The famous Greek physician Hippocrates, his view on movement, physical activity and exercise. If we could give every individual the right amount of nourishment and exercise, not too little, not too much, we would have found the safe way to health. Which brings us nicely back to the golden mean where we started.